think I first worked with Mike as a developer, and he was one of my producers and kind of guiding the projects and helping me learn just the ins and outs of development, right? What makes a good game, all of the extra kind of front work and iterative development that makes games great. And then all the way through as a mentor and as my direct leader, kind of helping me grow into a producer, right? And into further into the world of development.
Mike helped guide me into a leadership role over the few years I was there. And from there, he helped coach me along with leadership classes without authority, guiding me through art, and where my strengths could be, helped or improved upon to help build the best games possible. One of the best things I liked about working with Mike was the fact that when we went into a lot of our game reviews, it wasn't nitpicking our art, it was a guidance in how to make the game better. So it never felt like I was getting a bunch of different art direction.
And Mike always did such a great job of really concepting out. He would work with his teams to say, hey, here's something we're after. How would we turn it into a slot machine? And he would storyboard things with his team and see it in a bunch of different ways, different cabinets. Let's think outside the box. Is it just one game? Is it 5 games? And is actually one of the best people to work with on it, because when he was after a brand, he had it all thought through and really brought the value of why we wanted to go try to get that brand.
Mike's demeanor and everything is always fun. First off, it was always fun, but professional, and let's keep this on task. Let's keep it let's keep it in the realm of what we're doing. It was always realistic, and so when I came to Mike to talk about an idea, I knew that we were going to get down to business really quick. You need somebody who's going to get this job done, and it's not easy, and it's a collective punch. And how do you get that collective punch among very experienced people? And it's a delicate dance to keep people informed, keep people engaged.
So my first exposure with Mike was while I was kind of a young student, and Mike was always available to answer questions about his game or his process or the studio that he worked with and what they were really passionate about. So it provided a really safe space for me to learn more about casino gaming and our company as a whole through his lens.
What I appreciated most about Mike is, we would have small groups of people play our games that we made and provide feedback, and his were still to this day some of the best feedback we would receive, because he really took the time to play the game, give us thoughtful feedback, tell us why, and it really helped. It's always great to have fresh eyes and perspectives on games, and he always took it very seriously. I could always count on him for that feedback.
Oftentimes when we're launching a new game at Everi, we invite studio leadership to our either sales training or regular sales calls to talk to sales about the game and mimic the way we want them to talk to the customers. So Mike does a really excellent job of kind of introducing and training people on his games and why they made them the way they did or where the hook is for players. Mike is really passionate about player psychology and ensuring we're making a game that fits that segment of the market. And that really shines through with the way that he talks to sales about games.
As we continue to kind of try to find that next great game, hit certain new product areas, right? There's always new cabinets and new approaches that we're trying to hit. And I think Mike I always come back to kind of that the research and the kind of passion behind building the why you're making this, why the product you're kind of, why your approach is going to make this all the better. I think Mike always approaches it that way, which means he gets a successful product out of it, right? He's prepared and he understands why he's doing it and why he's asking the team and driving in a certain direction.
Mike was my partner in crime on a lot of stuff. Well, you need somebody who can speak, who are multilingual, somebody who understands storytelling, somebody who understands probabilities. I needed somebody who understood the entertainment experience, but also understood these very difficult concepts of probabilities and subjectivity of math. So Mike was my go-to. he was the guy that I could sit there and go, I need a game that does this, that feels like this, that sounds like this.
He would hear our feedback, and then he would close that loop. So it felt really good for us to provide feedback, because you knew Mike was listening to it, and he would close that loop and he'd say, hey, great idea, we did decide to do this, or great idea, but we're going to go this way because of X, Y, and Z. And that just feels really good, because it makes you feel like Mike is really hearing you, and it makes you want to always provide feedback.
I think one thing I've always appreciated and taken from Mike in the past is, innovation doesn't have to be huge swings, right? You can innovate in a space and on the small things that really pull your player in, right, or pull your user in, whether it's UI design, right, or some sequencing approach, or you can innovate in all sorts of areas, and some of them will be big, but others, it's a smaller thing, but it has a large impact. And I think Mike is always looking for a way to really hone in on those smaller things that have a large impact that maybe get overlooked by others.
So during my time in product management, we're always trying to make 10 pounds of stuff fit in a 5-pound bag, which will lead to trade-offs and sometimes conflicts. Like, we all have maybe competing priorities. And every time I've had to approach Mike with a challenge or a shift in the roadmap, he always, approached that problem-solving endeavor with a collaborative kind of servant leadership focus. So I've always really appreciated his willingness to hear a tough conversation, process the business needs, and look for the best possible solution moving forward for his team and the other parts of the business.
Although he's very knowledgeable at slot games and board games and all sorts of kind of ways to make a game fun, you really need to know the history of slots. You need to know this is a very slow-moving and a very stubborn player. They're looking for a lot, very specific experiences, and it's very expensive. Like when you're getting, it's not an Xbox game where you pay $60-$70 for one thing and you can just play it endlessly. This costs you $60 or $70 for every 10 minutes. So they have very high expectations on very expensive play. So stakes are high. And you need somebody who understands how that plays. And Mike is very knowledgeable about our industry. He's also a player.
Mike makes teams better, right? He kind of, not only from a structural standpoint and the ability to just get teams moving in the right direction and course correct when they need it, but he lifts the spirits up, right? He's always chatting. He's always the one in the room having fun and kind of engaging everyone on the team. So he makes you feel heard, right? I think that's always been something I've valued at Everi through my time here, and Mike's been a big part of that, right?
And Mike was always very forthcoming, very transparent is the word. And you knew when, Mike was supportive of something, or you knew when he wasn't. You didn't have to guess. You never got off a Teams call or a phone call and know like, are we on the same page? And that's something that I think goes underrated with how Mike is. Very deliberate with what he says, and is very honest and transparent.
Mike Wabschall is an excellent listener, and he comes from a really collaborative mind when solving challenging problems.
So he's very thoughtful. And he's really highly intelligent, really thoughtful, and really great at bringing, again, what I said before, which was these varied, languages of mental chaos of what is art, subjectivity of art, and then also what is subjectivity of this also of probabilities. I think bringing people together and it really does take somebody to pull all this together to get everybody to do their best work, because otherwise we're just over on different, it's just chattering at each other without